All right, welcome guys. Thank you so much for joining Kira and I today. We are both very, very excited to share with you about baby brain. And funny enough, that I have my two baby brain causes, or two of my three baby brain causes here with me today. So if they interrupt, I do apologize. It tends to happen. A little bit about myself probably and why I have asked Kira here. I have been on a massive health journey for the last 3.5 years, and that's why Kira and I know each other. She has been I call her my health guru, and my son is just testing the boundaries over there, because I was relatively uneducated around health. I thought I was healthy, but definitely had a lot to learn, and my post-pregnancy journey from my second two and my pregnancy journey from my second two compared to my first has been very, very different. And baby brain is something that will be with us for life, because we get to use it as an excuse. That's what I tell my husband, especially when I go to the grocery store and forget the garbage bag for the 50th time. But there are things we can do, and that's what Kira and I wanted to share with you today. So Kira, can you share with us, like, why are you so passionate about health and baby brain?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to see if I can share this at the same time as we're chatting. I think, first of all, it's important to mention that, you know, we're not making any claims or anything right now. We're really just from one mother to another sharing, you know, our own personal stories and, you know, the research that we've done and what's worked for us. So anything we share, we really invite you just to go and do your own research and ask yourself, you know, what is the common sense around that, around what we're sharing. So I'll start by sharing my story. I found myself unexpectedly pregnant in my 20s to, thankfully, you know, the man that, you know, I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, but definitely happened not before I was expecting to, before I planned. And I had just actually come off the back of one of the most challenging times in my life around my health, or the most challenging time. It was one of the hardest stages of my life. And that's a conversation for another time, but basically I had many health challenges, and I was able to heal myself by changing diet and lifestyle choices that were bringing those things out in my body. And so I wasn't yet really fully prepared on a nutritional and health level to fall pregnant, but I did. And you know, we were excited, and we went on that journey of life into becoming parents. And, you know, I was, as all first-time mums do, we're just learning as we go, and we're just doing the best that we can do, and trying to find the support that we need in one of the most challenging and life-changing moments of our lives. And so I found myself after giving birth with postnatal depression, and which mainly came out in a lot of anxiety. And I luckily had a great support network around me because of the job that I did around health. And one of my great dear friends, who was a naturopath, was able to help me find the different nutrients and things that I was depleted in, which was making the way I felt hormonally, emotionally, physically, it was able to turn that around in a really short space of time without the need for medical intervention. And once again, this is my personal story, so you have to do what is right for you. But I just knew I didn't feel right, and I knew that it was something that I could perhaps change or take responsibility for, and that's what I did. And there were certain things that I started adding to my diet, being more conscious about consciously replenishing my body. I was breastfeeding as well, so that's kind of a double whammy. You know, the physical demands that growing a baby places on a woman's body are significant, and then that's impacted further if you also then choose to back that up with breastfeeding. So a baby is going to grow by taking everything that it needs from us. And that's in the growth when they're in the womb. And then also if we're choosing to feed them, our breast milk is made by our own bodies and the nutrients that the stores that we have in our bodies. And the priority is going to be the baby. So we do just get depleted. In fact, I remember watching Jackie, and this was like the biggest, I think I let out an audible sigh of relief. I was watching Oprah one day, and they shared that baby brain is a real thing, because I lost my confidence as well. I think part of that postnatal depression is losing that confidence, because it was like my brain would short circuit. I'd be mid conversation, and then it was like, I don't even have the words. Like I just felt dumb all of a sudden. And I'd always valued my intellect and, you know, being able to hold a great conversation with someone. It really knocked my confidence. And so when I saw this episode, I was just like, yes, it's not me. It's an actual thing. And they said that, you know, because a baby's brain requires so much fat, you know, up to 7 grams of fat a day, omegas, DHA, the baby, that crosses the placenta to grow and develop the baby on a daily basis. And so especially in our modern westernized diet, we're not getting enough of those nutrients coming in. And our brains are made up of those fats. And so what happens is our brain shrinks, because that's where the baby's going to take it from. So our brain literally shrinks during pregnancy and breastfeeding, if we're not, especially if we're not, you know, replacing and getting enough in. So at least I had a true excuse at that point, which made me feel a little bit better about myself. But it just goes to show it's a real thing. Sorry.
Babies. Maybe I need to stop having babies.
Yeah. Oh, look. My youngest is 6 now, and I still short circuit. It's not as bad. It's gotten better, but I still, you know, have that challenge, and I'm still replenishing and being conscious about what I'm putting in my body, because you definitely see that vitality and, you know, a change. And you see it on the outside. Your skin changes, your hair changes, your, you know, obviously body shape. There's lots of changes that happen. That we can see. So, and imagine the ones that are happening on the inside that we can't see. So I was able to really just turn that around in a fairly short space of time. My anxiety dissipated. I had the less feelings of isolation and overwhelm. I mean, you still have that emotional roller coaster, because every day is different. Every day is a learning curve. You know, it's unpredictable having kids. The more you have, the greater some of the challenges are. But, you know, if you have experienced, you know, memory loss, if you feel lethargic, your energy is down, if you're feeling, you know, even guilt and anxious, you know, depression, overthinking, feeling alone, a lot of, like, this is my personal belief that, you know, we live in a society that is very abundant. We're very blessed. You know, we live in probably the best country in the world. We have so much opportunity here, and so much help if we're in trouble, whether it be financially or whatever that might be. And so for our culture to have the highest rates of depression is quite alarming, considering the lifestyle that we have. And I truly believe that one of the greatest causes and impacts on this is nutrition, because when we're nutritionally deficient, we cannot make the chemicals that we need to make that help us feel happy and help our brains function optimally. And when we're not functioning optimally and we're feeling emotional and unresourceful, this filters into every area of our life. So it impacts our relationships, it impacts our parenting. I know when I'm not eating well, if I've eaten too much sugar, too much chocolate, and I'm having that crash, I show up as a cranky mum. And, you know, that then transfers into my relationship with my husband. And then that impacts my entire day. It impacts my self-worth, because then I hate on myself that I, you know, did a crap job of parenting that day. Like, we all do it to ourselves. We beat ourselves up. And I truly believe that that starts with nutrition. And I also believe that the majority of us, and this was me, and to an extent still is me, right? Because no one's perfect. I don't do a perfect job of my nutrition. I just do a hell of a lot better than I used to, because I'm conscious of it. But so many of us have no idea how good we were born to feel every day. And so this sub-existence of feeling tired, vague, like almost like you're watching life happen, but you're not participating. That's how I used to feel, like in the clouds a little bit. That's the norm for most people. They think that they're supposed to feel tired because they worked all day or whatever that might be. But I think for the large part that stems from nutrition, and there's some other factors which we'll chat about in a bit as well. So I think it's so important to become aware of this, because when we're aware, we can take responsibility, which I think is truly important when it comes to our health, that our health And our body is our responsibility, not a doctor's, not a naturopath's, not, you know, obviously we seek help and guidance from them, but at the end of the day, we have responsibility over ourselves. So it can take up to 10 years to fully replenish after building a baby. And our society doesn't value giving women time and space to replenish before they back it up with another one. So we really compound the effects of being depleted, and we're not showing up to refuel ourselves, you know, before we go into that next pregnancy, or even if you're not heading into another one, just life in general, right? Is challenging. So I think it's really important that we start having conversations about this. I think our society has this pressure on women that as soon as we've given birth, it's like you get a badge of honor if you walked out of hospital that day, and if you're back, you know, vacuuming the house. I was lucky to have a midwife who beat Adam over the head saying she will not get out of bed for 2 weeks. She must be horizontal. You need to, wait, is that horizontal? Yeah. I'm like vertical, horizontal. Unless she needs to pee, she's laying down, give her pelvic floor time to heal. You don't need gravity, adding extra stress. You're doing the cooking, you're doing the cleaning. You need to give her that time. How many people are giving that wisdom and advice though? The advice is get up and move. It's good for you. Get up, do everything, go back to your housework. We just freaking ran a marathon. Like, we grew a baby, we gave birth, no matter what way you gave birth. Like, that is one of the most, probably the most strenuous thing that we could ever do. And yet we've got this pressure just to step back as our great self and not take time for ourselves and to invest everything in the baby, and we forget about ourselves in many ways. So I think this conversation is really, really important. And I think we need to bring some ancient wisdoms back into our society to serve ourselves, which at the end of the day serves our entire culture and community, right? Because the children that we raise today are the future, and it's important that we're our best selves, that we're able to give to ourselves first without feeling selfish, because we know when we're our best selves, we're going to raise so much happier, healthier, more resourceful children for tomorrow as well. So yeah, that's kind of my passion. I kind of went all over the place, but when you are nutritionally depleted, you know, just remember it impacts your hormones, which impacts your emotional state, which impacts your relationships, which impact, you know, everything in life basically, and how you're showing up and how you feel about yourself. So it's incredibly important. And yeah, so I don't know if that kind of answered your first question. I went on a bit of a tangent, but
no, absolutely perfect. I hadn't heard, or it hasn't sunk in, the 10 years to get over.
Yeah.
Like, to replenish, and that.
Yeah, 10 years.
Like, whoa, that's huge.
Crazy.
Yeah, like I finished breastfeeding 3 weeks ago, number 3, and
Yeah.
I've gone from pregnant to breastfeeding, to pregnant and breastfeeding, to pregnant and breastfeeding. Like, it's been crazy. For the last 3.5 years, my body has been constantly giving.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering why I'm not feeling my best. Like, why haven't I bounced back?
Yeah. And I know we've had conversations, and I'm sure that you're willing to share, because I'm in the same boat. Just that, you know, we go into this already, the food that we eat today is becoming increasingly, you know, void of nutrients. And we go into pregnancy already depleted. So we're not even in our best shape for the most part, even going into those first pregnancies, right? And you and I have had many discussions and relate on the fact that the impact that's had on our self-worth and confidence post-birth as well. And then what we're able to achieve in life, because we're beating ourselves up and we're feeling down on ourselves. And yeah, it's just amazing how much of that comes back to nutrition.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I definitely know, you know, post Livy, it was at least 15 months before I started to feel good. And I'd been living with constant brain fog before having Livy.
Yeah.
So when that fog lifted, that self-esteem started to grow, less anxiety symptoms and stuff like that at all. And it wasn't until we thought we were healthy, we thought we were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But we had a lot to learn leading up to that point.
Yeah, definitely.
So for you, Kira, like I could share, but I want you to share because you'll do a much more beautiful job of it. Like, your top tips of what to do to replenish your body would be great.
Yeah. Okay. So and this is through my own personal experience, but also working with so many other women now, which is my passion, you know, having the experiences that I've had. I've always made it my mission to use those lessons to empower other women in those areas of health. So leading into me falling pregnant, those health challenges I had changed my entire course and direction in life, and I decided to get into the health industry. And then I guess to continue on my story, I was very blessed to be a stay-at-home mom. You know, I have an amazing partner who provided financially, but, you know, being on one income was a challenge. But I always wanted to be that stay-at-home mom. I was willing to sacrifice financially to be able to have that gift. But, you know, there's always duality, right? So there's all these amazing benefits that I would never give up for the world. I'd never change it, but there's always going to be downsides. And the downside for me was that because I never did anything outside my comfort zone, because I lost my own purpose and passion other than kids, I became so introverted and so painfully shy, and I wasn't doing anything outside my comfort zone. And so I wasn't growing. And the saying is, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I felt like my spirit was dying. I felt like I was screaming on the inside. You know, we all, even when we're beating ourselves up, you know, I was at my lowest low in self-worth and I was beating myself up. But when you go beneath the BS mind stories and you truly are in your heart space, even if it's just a moment a day or a moment a month, but there's brief moments that we all have where we know the truth is that we have gifts to share and we have greatness inside of us. And I think to truly feel that joy and purpose and mission and passion, we need to be in touch with those gifts, and we need to be sharing them. And we need a purpose bigger than ourselves. And that was missing from my life. Financial independence was missing from my life. And even though I'm, you know, have that relationship that's providing and that's respectful in that department, and I didn't have to worry about it as a woman, if anything were to ever happen to that, you know, to my partner or in life or our business, not having any control or independence always gave me uncertainty as well. So I wasn't in a great place with my mindset. I was, I wasn't living passionately, I guess, outside of my kids, and I needed something more. And I had that enough is enough moment. And that's when, you know, I really started. I'd already worked on the nutrition. I was 10 out of 10 in that. And, you know, my memory had come back. You know, I certainly didn't feel depressed, but I did have some other challenges still there. So the other areas that we feel are very important, they're obvious, right? We've talked about nutrition. And my passion is helping parents build healthy food cultures in the home. I think there's a lot of confusion out there in the world. There's a lot of diets that, you know, are opposite of each other and conflicting, and, you know, deprivation, and food is not food anymore in the supermarket. Like, it's such a complex, it deserves its own life on its own. But, you know, what we do, we're passionate about bridging that gap for people and helping people in that area. And if people want to know more about that, obviously you guys can reach out. Sleep is a no-brainer. You know, when we're sleep deprived, obviously it's hard for us to show up. I think being willing to put yourself first. You know, I really believe women just need to step up into their resourcefulness. You know, for me, we weren't financially doing that great. We couldn't afford a nanny every day to give me time out. But you know what? I stretched our budget to be able to get a gym membership with a creche, and every single day I knew I could have an hour and a half to myself. And even if I didn't feel like exercising, I'd go sit in the sauna or go sit and read a magazine in the change room. Give yourself time every day to have space and quiet time, to get in touch with your greatness and who you are, to breathe, to sleep, to catch up with your girlfriend, whatever that is. Ladies, get resourceful. You're worth it. You don't need permission from anyone to do that for yourself. And I just don't believe we can really shine in our greatness if we're not willing to say, you know what? I'm going to take time for myself. And if the world thinks that's selfish, I don't give whatever about what other people think, because I will give so much more to my family when I can show up better because I'm resourced, because my cup is full. You have to fill your own cup first. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that mothers make, is filling everyone else's cup. And over days, months, sometimes years, don't do anything to fill their own cup. And, you know, and another conversation, but just planting the seed, is showing up to fill your partner's cup, because then they're going to reciprocate. So making sure that your partner has time every week, that you just give them a leave pass to play golf or to catch up with the boys or whatever that is, right? And then you contra that. It's like, okay, it's my turn. This time on this day, I'm off with the girls. And this time on this day, you're off with the boys, or whatever that looks like, right? You like, so often couples, they don't cooperate together anymore. They're just in survival mode and, you know, well, you're not doing this, so I'm not going to do that for you. Like, how about you go first and see what happens, right? So I think that's important. Obviously, physical activity is so important, even on those days where, you know, you feel tired. Just go for a gentle walk, get some fresh air, get down on the beach, ground your feet in the earth and just breathe, stretch, you know, that just do something, because to have energy, you have to give energy. It's not just going to show up. So I think that's important. And then the biggest one, and I believe this impacted my health journey earlier on, that I spoke about at the beginning as well, is that we live in this world where we are raised to go and get a job and work 40 hours a day in some soul-sucking environment with neg ferrets all around us. And I mean, this is not everyone, right? If you are that blessed person who loves your job, loves your life, can't wait to get to work every day, then congratulations, you're amazing and you made life work for you, and that's incredible. But for the most part, people don't understand life is working for them, not against them. And they're being, you know, they're kind of sucked into the flow of life and they're just going along with the flow rather than creating the path that they want to go down. And for me, you know, I was probably 5 years into my working career and I was just so depressed. I just could not. Every day I thought, this can't be life. Like, I can't do this for 40 years. Like, this is sucking the life out of me. I just was not, I knew that life, there was something more to life, like something more to offer. Like, how could this be? How could I be living life to work and not feel fulfilled? And I tried so many things. There's all this pressure on us when we're young to know exactly who we are and what we want to be, which I think is ridiculous. I think going to uni straight out of high school, unless you truly know that you're truly passionate and on purpose, I think is ridiculous pressure to place on our children, because I was nearly 30 before I truly knew what I wanted to do. And everything that I did served a purpose and it taught me something. And, you know, I got to try so many different things, but I was on the search for that thing. And I believe that impacted my health. Just being so sad every day to have to wake up and go to another crappy day with people that did not raise me up and make me feel good about myself. Not that it's up to others to make us feel good about ourselves, but certainly being in a negative environment affects our own energy. And so that happens when we become mums as well. We kind of give away our purpose and our passion and our mission, and we just focus on our kids. And I just don't believe that you'll ever fully feel fulfilled in everything that you are and all the greatness that you have to share in life if that's all that your life is about. And I think for a time it's allowed to be, right? You just give birth. Of course you're allowed to have that time where it's just about raising babies. But you know what we are so passionate about, Jackie and I, is we've found that mission and that purpose, which is empowering women to find their voice, to step into their greatness and their potential in life, to believe in them before they believe in themselves while they grow that belief, and to give women financial independence, to give them that certainty, to give them that opportunity to get the gym membership and get their hair done when they want to and their nails done, and whatever those little things that make them feel better about themselves because they're filling their cup up first. You just can't forego this passion and purpose in life. I truly believe that. And I think nutrition and lack of passion and purpose is, you know, two of the greatest, I don't know what you'd call it, but influences on the mental state of our society right now. I believe that. And I think it's even more true for mothers, because we go through that depletion curve and through that life change. And we're supposed to be everyone to, you know, everything to everyone and super mums and do it all. But we're not giving to ourselves first. So yeah, find the support, make time for you, be resourceful, put yourself first, fill your own cup nutritionally as well as passion and purpose. And yeah, did that answer your question?
Of course, as always, beautifully answered. And I couldn't agree more. I was just sitting there thinking to myself, I don't know how I would have got through the last 12 months, but probably the last, 3.5 years of the changes emotionally and hormonally that I've gone through without having a community to plug into. And I was reminded by one of the midwives. I was very blessed to use a private midwife company, and it gave me a completely different experience than my first. Not that it was overly bad, but just that need to put me first through the whole process. And as someone with a thyroid condition, I automatically became a high-risk case, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's got nothing to do with giving birth. And the girls always reminded me that I was number one and my baby was number one, and that was the whole process. So very lucky there. But Liz reminded me that it's actually don't be a superhero. Plug into your community. Remember that you have to serve you first and look after you first, and that's how you'll give more as a mum.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny when you say that. I remember, and this was actually before I became a mum. I was doing some research on some stuff, but the Western culture is really the only culture that lacks that wisdom. We've forgotten that wisdom. If you even look at like the Chinese culture, and I'm not sure if it's like this today, but certainly, not too far back in time, and many still carry this tradition. When women become mothers, I talked about 2 weeks that Adam gave me. Like, they've got this traditional 30 days, they're not allowed to do anything. They don't have visitors. They don't have this pressure of showing off the baby, because that's bonding time and learning to be a mom and not having those extra pressures, and everything is taken care of. They're given specific rebuilding foods and warming foods, and there's belly binding, and there's certain foods they do and don't eat if they're breastfeeding. Like, there's just so much wisdom that's been forgotten, and everything's been so medicalized. And we can just fix that if they've got wind. We'll just give them this, rather than looking at what you're eating or what you're giving them. There's just, it's really sad, and it's something I'm really passionate about, empowering women around to just find that wisdom, learn from the many, many incredible mothers that have gone before us. When you implement, there's just so many. We'll have to do a live on some of the things that I learned, actually, because there's some really great stuff that I love sharing with every mum that transformed my experience as a mum, especially first-time mum.
Yeah. All right. Look, that would be wonderful. Even little hints that you gave me around what to eat and what to avoid definitely helped, from having that purple crying baby with Libby to not having that experience with the other two. So watch this space. We'll bring more to you around that soon. But Kira, anything else you'd like to, leave us with?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think, I guess if you've tuned in all this time, then I hope this is the excuse or sign or permission that you've been waiting for, to put yourself first, to consciously nourish yourself every day, and that it's okay to put that first on your list, and it not just be about your kids and their health. To take time out for yourself. I challenge you all to go and look at your diaries and book some time in for you this week, whether that be, going to the gym, because, it's kind of making the most of what you have, whether it's, one of my dear friends, we used to do a baby swap day once a week. So we'd give each other a day off a fortnight. And what's beautiful about that is our kids are like family now, and, it progressed to sleepovers and date nights very quickly as soon as, they weren't, they didn't need to be fed through the night. So, just set yourself up for success. And that was the other thing I was going to say when you said community. I remember the first mums group I went to, and it just, like, I felt disempowered there. Like, be conscious of who you're surrounding yourself with. There was just so much bitching and comparison, and and some of it didn't fit my beliefs on how I wanted to parent. And I think we just need to be mindful of who we surround ourselves with, and that we have empowering women who want to raise us up into our greatness. And, obviously that's what we're passionate about. And that's a space that we have here if you're looking for that. So yeah, you don't need permission, but if you do, this is your permission. Go and, do something for yourself this week. Put yourself first. You're worth it. You deserve it. And you don't need to ask anyone whether you can. And your children will be better off for it. So who the hell are you not to take time for yourself and put yourself first?
Thank you. I don't think I can add anything else there, but I completely agree. Give yourself permission to shine. Or even if you can't imagine yourself shining, just give your self permission to breathe. and to love yourself. It's a daily act. It's not about self-care. Self-care is awesome, but you have to love yourself. And that's something you need to do every day with the way you think, the way you speak to yourself, and the way you nourish yourself. So Kira, thank you so much for sharing with us today. Watch this space, guys. We will be back, no doubt, with some more gold for you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.